Hi everyone, I hope you are all doing well. Just checking. Mic check 1 2. Can everybody at home hear me? How you guys doing tonight? Just a thumbs up. Checking if the people at home, people on their commute can hear us. Thank you so much. I hope you guys are doing well. A warm welcome to yet another exciting episode of our candidate conversations. So this is actually number 3 and the very last one before our ITC candidates sit for their finals in about 6 days, I believe. I'm sure everyone at home is feeling nervous. Thank you so much for taking a break in between the studies. I can only imagine how hectic it must be for you guys right now. So welcome to all of you guys taking your commute at home. You're listening to us in your car. Amazing. It's so great to have you guys here. Our guest for this evening is Utobile Mtandi. She passed her ITC in June 2023, and she did this in her first seating. So, ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome. Allow me to welcome Utobile Mtandi. Boo, 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 boo. How are you doing, Tobile?
Good, Mama. Thank you so much for having me.
No,
Such a
it's
pleasure
an
to be here.
absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for squeezing us in. I mean, from the engagements I've had with this lady, she is such a busy woman.
I am not.
Like, so just a little secret to the people watching at home. For us to deliver this to you, there's like a billion things that happen in the background, and they all involve her coming through. So she will tell me it's 5 in the morning, like, okay, let's catch up. I'm like, what? Whoa. So yeah, no, this is actually the woman that I am sitting with. She is very dedicated, very driven. It's been just absolutely amazing getting to know her over the past couple of weeks. So thank you for squeezing us in,
It's a
Tobile.
pleasure.
So yes, like I've said, I mean, I've had the absolute pleasure of getting to know you
Yes.
through our engagement.
Yeah.
But for the people watching at home, can you tell us who is Utobile? I mean, what are you about?
Okay, guys, like Mama has already said, I'm Tobile Mtandi. I'm from the east of Johannesburg, and I did my ITC board course with Indinamo. And yay!
Thank you.
And when I'm not at work, I'm usually with friends or with family. My family loves having like gatherings. We're always gathering for something. So
Oh
I'm
no,
usually
guys, you
with
just love each other.
Yeah,
Tight knit family.
love each other.
Jay.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm also into shopping. I love shopping. So if I'm not at work, I'm shopping. I'm into fashion. I'm into makeup.
Into fashion and makeup. We had no idea, right, guys? I mean, look at her.
Nice.
We really had no idea.
I also love traveling. I love
Yeah.
traveling quite a bit.
Okay.
So yeah, that's just who I am.
Ever been like overseas or?
Oh yes, actually.
What?
I have.
I was just asking Jay, but like I didn't know that. But where?
Where haven't I been actually? I traveled quite a lot growing up with my mom.
Yeah.
Now I'm working, I've got my own life. I don't have much time to do it anymore.
Oh, ironic. So
Yeah.
now you can do things on your own without
Yeah.
permission, but you
Yeah.
actually
I don't
can't.
have the time.
Yeah.
Freedom. So yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
So actual the actual core of why she's here is to help our ITC candidates just get settled into the idea of your final assessments next week. So Tobin is going to be taking us through the emotional journey, through the technical requirements, every single thing that you need as an ITC candidate, just to say, you know what, I feel like I'm ready to sit for my assessment. This is the lady that's going to be taking us through that journey today. So Tobile, allow me to ask this.
Yeah.
Let's just do the setup first of all. Like, what does your foundation look like? Okay, so now I'm going to study. Is that like in a quiet place, you're all alone,
Okay.
or you just fit it in wherever? Like, what's your study plan looking like?
So for the actual studying,
Mhm.
obviously you can't study in a noisy background. It needs to be a conducive environment. So I would either study from home or study from the office or the library. But I know that ITC candidates, they're quite likely to have the Indinamo Study Center as well. So
Literally, thank
I'll
you for
also-
highlighting that, guys. We
I'd
have a
really,
campus.
really
Yes,
encourage them to come
refreshments.
to campus.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
study. There's tea, there's coffee, there's your ITC caretakers, so you're okay. So
Yes.
yeah, it needs to be a conducive environment. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, so that's the foundation. So now this is when, okay, so now we're just doing the actual setup. Now, what about the technical stuff?
Okay.
So now I've got my conducive environment. So now I want to apply myself. Bearing in mind, we've got our candidates have about six days or so.
Yeah.
So what's time management looking like in those 6 days? I mean,
cool.
I know I got to study, I know I got to do this. Is it not just a bit overwhelming? How do you find those 6 days? So now let's look at your week approaching your ITC exams.
Okay, cool. So I think a week before my ITC, I was anxious. I was nervous. Did I study enough?
Yeah, it was just building up. Yeah.
But I remember when I set up my study program, I made sure that a week before, all I was doing was ITC papers. So weeks before that, I revised all the topics that I was probably uncomfortable with, that I needed to brush up. So now a week before ITC, all I was doing was past papers. And I always made sure that my past papers were integrated.
Okay.
So as you know, ITC is an integrated paper.
Yes.
You write Mac or tax and auditing all in one paper. So all my papers were integrated.
Okay.
And I always made sure that I wrote within the time limits. I never went over time. I always made sure that I was very strict with myself. Because when time is up at your ITC venue,
it's done.
They take your paper and they're done.
So what I'm hearing is you set exam conditions for yourself.
Yeah.
You did the simulation all on your own well before the exam. So this is a week leading into the exam.
Yeah.
You were ready. You're like, you know what? I'm going to write this exam as if I'm actually at Gallagher.
Yeah, I had to.
And how was that? Like, was that nerve-wracking, like just that process to say exam conditions in the comfort of my own room or whatever? How did you apply yourself? Take yourself out of this is my room or this is my living room or whatever, and I'm actually at Gallagher right now. How did you apply yourself to give it your all, even when you know you're the one that's marking your own paper?
Okay, cool. So what I did with my days is that I made sure they were very structured.
Okay.
So I structured my days according to how it would be when I'm writing ITC. So ITC at 7:30 you're seated, 8 a.m. you start reading your paper. So when I was at home at 8 a.m., I start reading my paper. I read for 30 minutes. I start writing at 8:30 until 11. So that's what I did. And that honestly calmed the nerves because by the time I had to go write at Gallagher, I already knew that obviously at 8, I will be anxious. I don't know what's in this paper. I don't know what they're going to ask me. Do I even know the answer? But when you do it at home, you work through the nerves. You learn how to push through the anxiety. You learn how to push through the nervousness. And
I like that. I have a question because I mean I would be forced to like cheat, and I mean I'm the one marking this and I'm sitting for this paper like in my room. So like when you go, say I go overtime, like 5 p.m. or whatever, like it's over. I'm seeing that when I land there's nothing. I know for a fact there's nothing. What do you do? Do you just mark that or do you like what did you have a strategy when you're at home around that?
So I'm actually glad you asked that. So the one thing I'd really encourage the candidates to do is that when you've gone overtime, now your time is up. You had 2.5 hours to write, your time is up. Let's say you're writing in a black pen. Change the color of your pen. Pick up a red pen, purple pen, whatever you like.
Continue writing.
All right. Continue timing yourself.
Okay.
So put a stopwatch to see, am I 5 minutes over time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes? What is it? Because that allows you to then see what your actual issue is, Because I had an issue of not writing fast enough. I could see, okay, my issue is
the content is there. I know the stuff.
I don't write fast enough. It also allows you to see how many marks you could have missed, or how many marks you could have missed. But the one thing I actually also liked about it is that it then shows you what your actual problem is. So if you have a technical gap, you'll pick it up that, okay, I actually went overtime because I don't know what deferred tax is. I actually went overtime because I write too slow. Or I went overtime because I wasn't confident in doing the paper, but I know what I'm supposed to. Because most of the time, you score 80% of the marks within the required time.
Wow.
when we are going over, it's now the nerves. You're listening to the voices in your head. You're like, oh no, maybe if I write, maybe if I no, there's no need for that. So, but that allows you, it allows you to identify what your actual issue is. It could be technical gaps.
Wow.
It could be writing slow, or it could just you just writing things that aren't even they're not even necessarily not answering the required.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So now you missed the point completely,
You
but
missed
you
the point
had the answer. Now you're only answering it in the different color page.
Yes.
I hope our candidates watching at home heard that. Over the next few days, exam conditions in your room, wherever you are, come through to the campus. Yeah, you know, that's actually quite profound. So that you feel like that technique played a very crucial role in your success.
Yes, it did.
Wow.
It did, because even on the day, there were certain questions that I didn't finish.
Okay.
But I was confident in knowing that no,
I've put in the right
I've
mark.
put in
Yes.
the right things, because when you answer, you obviously plan your answers,
Sure.
right? So if it's a tax question and the required
Yes.
says discuss the tax implications, you obviously know you're going to discuss different parts of the act.
Okay.
There's Income Tax Act, there's VAT Act. Then you know how you're going to structure your answer. If it's VAT, you know you have to discuss the time of supply, the value of the supply. If there's a special rule, include the special rule. So in planning, before you actually start answering, you already know the format of your
It's
answer.
structured already.
It's gonna help you generate marks. So if I leave out the last bit, it's okay. I've already generated marks.
The call.
Yes, the call's already there. I'll get my marks. I'll move on. And luckily, if I have enough time, I'll go back. But yeah.
No, that's quite profound. I mean, because I was thinking maybe I'll just cheat, yeah, and go overtime, but then also now rating myself, how would I know that this is what I scored honestly? So that's actually quite a
So that's why you
technique.
change the
That
color.
color.
Yes, so that when you're marking, you know that the only marks you got is the black pen. The red pen,
with
or the
four
purple
star.
pen,
Yeah.
you were just fighting, right?
Yeah.
You're just fighting to get marks.
Yeah.
But you did not get them.
Yes.
You're not gonna score them when you're writing at the actual venue. So you can't score yourself now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So tell me, for our candidates at Indunama right now, we've got a pool of resources that we give them. I mean, we've got our guidance letters. We've got our monthly notes. Did that work for you personally? I mean, because we had the same type of resources back then, and like when you wrote in June 2023, as we do right now for our Jan candidates. Do you feel that worked for you?
Okay, so to be honest, at first I found them a bit overwhelming. And that's only because I didn't know how they worked.
Okay.
So I then reached out to my caretaker. And I was like, no, hold on, girl, what is this? What am I
What's
doing?
happening?
This is a lot. What's going on? And then she explained everything to me. So what I really liked were the guidance letters. So the guidance letters come out every month.
Yes.
The monthly notes. They tell you which topics you should be revising this month, which questions you should be doing, what does the question entail. So it allowed me to see, okay, no, let's say they say this month must focus on PPE for accounting and for markets valuations, right?
Yes.
So let's say I'm comfortable with valuations, but I'm not so great with PPE.
Okay.
I'd be like, okay, maybe just do like one question, maybe for valuations, but PPE, go deeper, go in. So it did that for me. So I didn't have to figure out, oh my gosh, which topic should I be looking at? Which questions should I be doing? No, it was already given. I already knew.
So you already had that structure. All you had to do was follow through.
Was to follow. And don't be too hard on yourself when you don't go through all the questions. There are so many questions. Do questions that you know will challenge you. Do questions where you know you'll be sitting on the edge of your chair trying to figure it out. Because you need to sweat. You need to be comfortable with sweating.
Yes.
Because when you get to Gallagher or wherever you're writing, you're gonna sweat. You're gonna sweat. There's so many people, there's so many things happening. You're sitting on your small little table and there's people around you. You must be comfortable with sweating.
Yeah.
And when you're at home, what's gonna make you sweat? It's the uncomfortable questions. It's the difficult questions. So you need to be comfortable.
You need to challenge yourself.
You need to really challenge yourself. You can't just say, oh no, I'll do group questions because I'm good.
No, I'm the best. Yeah. Then what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Might as well.
What are you doing? You're wasting your time. If you know that you struggle with deferred tax, do it. Do it. Do a question with deferred tax and struggle. And get used to pushing through the struggle, generating marks while you're struggling so you can actually pass.
candidates at home, you're going to sweat. I mean, it's not going to be an easy 6 days. I think you all just heard. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's quite profound. I mean, I believe as humans, we always tend to go for what's easier or more comfortable.
Yeah.
So that thing that just kind of like rocks the boat for you,
Yeah.
you will want to shy away from. Like, "Ooh, no, this one, I guess you'll so let me rather do this." So thank you so much for sharing that. So Tobile has taken us through, I believe, the technical aspects of the preparation. But there's also that emotional aspect, like you've got the nerves, you've got the anxiety, you've got the panic buildup. You're just basically a mess leading up to that because this board course, I mean, this is the first one, then APC, then you're a chartered accountant. So this is do or die for a lot of our candidates. And I think emotionally, a lot of you guys might be feeling overwhelmed. How did you handle those nerves a week leading up to the exam?
It really wasn't easy. I think now when I speak about it, it will sound like it was easy. But when I had to do it, it was not easy.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing I told myself is that, listen, ITC means a lot to me. Like you said, it's your first board exam, then it's APC, then you're a CA.
Then you're done there.
And you've probably wanted to be there for years, but now, So ITC means a lot to me. So I was able to tell myself that, listen, you are going to be anxious. You are going to be nervous. It's only natural because ITC means so much to you. So don't shy away from the emotions. I didn't shy away from them. I was like, it's fine. Let me feel them. Let me work.
Allow yourself.
Let them flow. I had a study buddy actually.
Oh, nice.
And would have like catch-ups every night or every second night where I'd vent, like, yeah, this paper, yeah. She's like, yeah, I did this one, and. So it helps. So when you need support, someone that either is going through the same thing as you or has been there, so they can actually give you some
relate.
Yeah, you can relate. They can give you some reassurance. They can give you a shoulder to cry on if you need to cry. So that's what I did from like an emotional perspective, where I was like, you know what, I will be feeling anxious. I will be feeling nervous. I will accept the emotions and I'll just work through it. And I'll find the support that I need to be able to continue pushing. But just to like add on the whole emotional thing, I think the emotional part obviously plays a big part as well. But there's other stuff as well in between. There's your mental, there's your physical. So for mental, I'd really encourage our candidates to take breaks in between studying.
Okay.
I think we like thinking that we're like machines. So I'm gonna
just work right.
Yes. So I'm going to write for 8 hours in a day. So when I study, I'm gonna study, I'm gonna study for
Not
8
possible.
hours. And it's not ideal.
Yeah.
Nor is it advisable.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't structure out your days, like I said. When you write in 3-hour intervals.
Sure.
So what I did is that from 8 till 11, I was writing. From 11 till 1, I take a break because when you're writing at Gallagher, wherever you're writing, that's how it's set up. You need the breaks in between. And then I'll come back at 1 o'clock to start marking. And then after every hour of marking is very tiring. It's very demanding because that's where you see, where did I go wrong? What do I need to improve? You're learning as you're marking, or you're gaining confidence as well. It's just such a complex thing, but it's very tiring and it's quite demanding. After an hour of marking, I'll take a 15-minute break. And then I knew every night, I'm like, you have to sleep. 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, you have to be in bed. Or else you won't have energy for the next day.
Sure.
Especially the week up to ITC, I don't advise cross-nighting.
Okay.
Don't do it. Don't. It's not a good idea. You need to rest. You need to have energy. So that's what I did. And yeah, 2 days before, I was not doing any more papers. I was not.
So 2 days before, you shut it down?
Yeah, I shut it down.
Yeah.
I did. I was reading my notes, my correction notes. I read a lot of my correction notes.
So this is when you're marking.
So as we mark, we obviously do, we call them postpartum notes.
Sure.
What did I get wrong? What do I need to improve on? And what do I need to go back and learn because I clearly missed the mark? So 2 days before, I was reading all those notes. Yeah, I was reading all those notes.
Question papers, aside.
I was not doing question papers anymore because I needed to have energy to actually go right.
Sure.
So that's what I did, yeah. And incorporate some self-care as well. Like I'm like into skincare. I love my skincare. So really, So I would do stuff
Yeah.
that made me feel as though I'm pouring back into myself. So skincare for me, because I've always struggled with my skin because of the stress of studying.
Yeah, the stress was showing here.
It was showing.
Yeah.
So I jumped onto skincare to just obviously make my skin look better.
After the session, I need a plug. Ooh. Yeah.
So you really need to do the stuff that are gonna be pouring back into you and do them every day because you're giving so much. And in as much as studying is obviously beneficial for you, it's actually quite demanding as well. So skincare was a thing for me. I'm also into cooking, so I would cook and I'll pray. I'll pray every morning, every night. I'm into prayer because I just knew I'm not gonna do this alone. So if you're Christian and you believe in that, whatever works for you, pray.
Do you?
Do you?
You heard it here first. Do not pour from an empty cup. I mean, yeah, those are such profound words. That's something I also just love to say literally all the time.
Yeah.
But I believe there's a fine line between I feel like I haven't done enough.
Yeah.
And I need to keep pushing.
Okay.
Or I've done too much and you're not realizing, I think now is the time for rest. Do you have any word of advice for those candidates that are just kind of like caught in between there? Like somebody's out there thinking, you know what, I've killed it the last few months. I'm so ready for this.
Okay, that's nice.
See, we are not really ready.
Okay.
And somebody who's like, you know what, I can't relax. I need to keep pushing. But that's a person that needs the rest and, you know, the pouring back that you're talking about. Like, how did you differentiate between those two fields in your study time?
So I think because I am the one that says I haven't done enough. That's just who I am. And I think 90% of us that are on this journey are like that because it is so intimidating. Our standards, we have so many standards. There's so many questions to go through. There are so many things to do. So what I did is that I put together a timetable.
Okay. All right.
And my timetable incorporated breaks. They were forced breaks. They were forced weekend breaks.
Does say. Okay, so even the weekends are forced.
Yeah, there were weekends where I'd be like, no, I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. If I've reached my goal for this week, I'm going to watch Netflix or I'm going to sleep. I'm going to go on a hike. I'm going to go watch a movie.
You're pouring back.
Yes, you have to. Yeah. So you have to set goals. You have to either set them for like weekly goals or daily. Okay. Right. So you know that okay, today I need to go through a 100-mark question that has to include an auditing question because I'm not comfortable with auditing. All right. It has to include that. Yes. So once you've reached your goal for the day or your goal for the week, whatever it might be, you then just take a break. You take a break. You have to. You have to be structured. And don't run away from the structure. There's a saying that says if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. You plan to fail. That's definitely it. It's definitely
fail to plan, you plan to fail.
With ITC, it really is just that. With this whole journey, actually, you need to
about structure.
You have to. And you have to stick to it. And you are allowed to change your plan, but don't change it to your detriment, hey? Don't say, nah, I'm okay. I've got this. You haven't written ITC.
Because I can only imagine how uncomfortable it is. It's forcing you, it's pushing you to go outside of your comfort zone. You're studying, you have to sit for this paper for 8 hours, and then you're like, maybe let me just do 2 hours. Yeah, to your detriment, like you said. I mean, yes.
Yeah, so you know, you need to sleep. You need to sleep. I would try always push for like 8 hours of sleep, but the nerves will get to you. You'll feel like I haven't done enough. So at least 7, but you have to sleep because you need to put stuff in your long-term memory, and you can't do that for sleeping for 4 hours. It's not going to happen. So you need to sleep, you need to rest. So yeah, plan, have a study timetable, even incorporate sleep, incorporate your breaks, make sure things are happening.
I love that. So it's just basically being intentional about each and everything that you do. I mean, you're intentional about your study time. You're intentional about the rest as well. Thank you so much, Tobile, for sharing that. That's beautiful. To our candidates watching at home, if you have any questions, she is here. She is absolutely ready for you. Please shoot them through on the chat. We are absolutely ready to engage with you. Or you can just jump in. Yeah, just maybe say your name, whatever works for you. You can just say your name, and yes, we'll pick it up from there. So On our journey and preparation, we are now moving on to the day. So we are on the day. So yeah, we've been doing this thing for months. We've been doing this thing for the last few weeks. We've been doing this thing for the last 6 days.
Yeah.
This is Wednesday. This is next week, Wednesday.
Yeah.
What did you go through the first day of your, I mean, take me through from like the morning. What were you feeling? Were you frantic? Like one more chat, Sanjay, let me just read. Like what was your mind space?
So probably let me take you to the night before. I think
Sure, let's say
the night before I packed everything. I packed all my books. Like I said, I stay in the East End, right?
yes.
So I wasn't gonna go back home the day after writing. Yes. So I packed everything. I packed all my books, I packed my clothes, I stayed at my aunt's house. I made sure that I had everything because she didn't live too far from the venue.
Okay.
So I woke up the day that I had to write ITC. And I kid you not, I just kept faffing around the house. I don't know what was going on.
You know, what were you looking for? You're not even sure.
My sanity, my peace.
Not sanity.
My sanity.
No. Was
my
it that
peace,
bad?
or maybe even my confidence.
Yeah,
Because I was
like,
like, oh my gosh, where's the guy? He's pretty. I'm like, oh, it was a lot. I'm not
I
going
can
to lie.
imagine.
So eventually I got ready and I'm
Yeah.
driving. This is me.
Mhm.
I'm on the highway.
Okay.
So I'm coming from the East End and there's that notorious off-ramp by Bedford View.
Oh, okay. All right.
So there's cars going to the airport. What's the traffic? I kid you not. I left home. I was supposed to leave home at 6:15. I was like, nah, it's fine. I'll leave at 6:30. I'll be fine.
Go pee.
I get there. The traffic. I check my GPS.
No.
GPS definitely says I'm gonna get there 7:45. I'm like, no.
Wait, so what time is this?
It's 7:45.
Ooh.
I'm like, Toby, you know Murphy's Law? It caught up with me. Definitely. I should have left that.
We should have. We should have. We could have.
I didn't listen to my inner self. I was like, nah, I'm good. So anyway, now I'm crying. I'm frantically calling my mom.
But wait, what's mom? Wait, what was mom meant to do?
I don't know.
Something.
Give me support. Something. Like something. I'm calling
Yeah.
my partner. I'm calling everyone. I'm like, guys, yo. Then I'm like, actually,
Yeah.
stop and think. I checked for different ways in the GPS. Then I took a different route. Now I'm driving through factories.
We're sailing.
I'm
This is
driving
your
through-
factories.
I'm driving through town CBD. I'm like, you know, it doesn't matter as long as I get there. Eventually, I take another highway.
Yeah.
And I eventually make it on time and I get there on time. So it was a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
That was fine. Eventually, I sit down, I get to my seat, I sit down, and I'm feeling nervous.
Okay.
But because when I was studying, I was already feeling nervous. I already knew what those emotions are. I knew because I kept creating exam simulations, right?
I've heard.
At
So
home,
this is
yes.
quite familiar.
Or at the library or at the office. So it wasn't foreign. I was like, okay, I'm nervous, it's fine. Okay, I'm anxious, it's fine. It's okay, you know. I'm still gonna be able to push through the nerves, push through the anxiety, and actually get it done. So yeah, and then that's the day. Really, you are gonna be nervous. Don't be like me. Don't be late. And
Don't be late.
Don't be late. Be on time.
Yeah.
In all honesty, and I'd advise that you honestly just pack a lunch because you don't know if there's food available. You don't know what's going on. So I did that. So yeah. So you.
And the whole day on an empty stomach. I know like I was like,
if sure. I would write fasted. So I would only eat after 11 when I was studying. So I didn't eat on the day. I drank tea like I usually would.
Okay.
And I had my tea with me at the
and
table.
you were just fine.
Don't try something new. Don't now try have a full breakfast. If you didn't have a full breakfast,
Let me try this Red Bull.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. And don't depend too much on caffeine.
Okay.
If you are a coffee person and you drink coffee every morning, do it. But I'm not. So I had tea.
You stuck to what you
my
need.
tea, my water, and I was okay. It's all you need. Like what you were doing at home is all you need when you get to Gallagher or when you get to the venue that you're writing at. The only other thing is that there's people around you. So I think another thing, just back on the preparation, is that when you are preparing, to ease the nerves, sometimes don't study from home. Move away from home, you know? Like we said, come use a study center here, sit at the library and so that you're used to writing and there's someone walking past you. So not surprised that there's someone walking past
Invigilators.
Yes.
Okay.
So do that as well. It really does help. It really helped.
So the one thing you've told us is do not be late.
Don't.
And another thing that you told us is at least try not to study too much and it's so close because you stopped 2 days before. What's the other thing is there any other thing that you feel you did right on the day that you'd want like candidates to just sort of simulate? Like, I feel like, out of all the things, could have been late, I could have been this, but this, on the day, try this. What was that one thing you'd take away?
In all honesty, you have to tell yourself that you have done enough.
Oh,
you've done your best.
Okay.
And your best is enough.
I've done enough.
Honestly, you really have, because you can't sit down and you're still thinking of, oh my word, I could have done section 19 cap A from the income tax. There's no time for that.
It's time.
There's no time for that. You've done enough, honestly. And your best is honestly enough. It's going to carry you and you're going to be just fine. You have to tell yourself, you have to constantly reassure yourself. You have to constantly do that. I had sticky pads. You know those little sticky pads?
Yes,
You are enough. You've done enough.
Me too. More things. More.
You are smart. You can do it.
Okay.
It's corny, but it works.
I mean, that needs to be you're feeding yourself that energy.
You have to. You have to. And you don't need other people telling you, because no one knows what you're going through. Only you know. Only you know.
And nobody knows the efforts that you put in, those late nights.
The actual challenges.
Yeah.
Only you know what you had to fight through. Only you understand your journey the way you do. So you need to be able to be your biggest cheerleader, in all honesty. And when you get there, you have to tell yourself, listen, I've done enough. My best was enough. I attended classes. I did tutorials. I did mock exams. And I'm okay. Like, I'm honestly fine. And I'll be okay. And you will be fine. Because either way, you're going to sit there and write for 8 hours. So you've got two choices: to tell yourself you'll be fine, or to panic
the whole time.
I don't advise on panicking the whole time. It's not going to work well. I don't advise.
No, thank you so much. I mean, be your biggest cheerleader. That's something that resonates so much with me. So this is on the day.
Yeah.
I need to know what happens after day one. So say day one was math and tax. I'm feeling so thrown off. Like, this is not what I was expecting. I thought I did the work. So it's day one. I've still got day two to go, but I'm already like just bummed. I'm like, Yazin. So how do I get myself out of that rut? Like the push kanjan. Because now I'm like, day two is going to be worse.
Yeah.
What more do I have to give if I couldn't make it past this first day? Talk to us about day one.
So let me first talk about my day one and then advice from day one. Yeah, cool. So like I said, I got there late. I was running.
Yes.
By the time I sat down, I obviously knew how to deal with the emotions of being nervous to write.
Yeah.
But now I had the emotions of, I was rushing here. I had to drive through town.
And it was the city, busy.
Yep.
Yeah.
After reading, I remember getting up, going to the bathroom and saying, listen, it's done. You were late, it's done. Like, it's fine. Just get over it. Go sit down and push. You only have 2.5 hours to make this work. Go do it. So get over things as quickly as possible, especially when it comes to this journey, because you need to be able to say, listen, I made a mistake. Pick yourself up quick, keep it moving. So day one will be overwhelming.
Okay.
Expect it to be overwhelming, expect it to be nerve-wracking, because you've never done this. And even if you have, now you're working with nerves of, I've done this before, but I got it wrong the last time.
It's like this.
Put it behind you. Put it behind you. Get over that. Do whatever it is that you need to do to get over it. So after I wrote day one, I remember there was a Mac question that had some chocolates going on, and I had this chocolate question. I was driving back to my house, and I got these chocolates.
Like chocolate.
Yeah, like it was a costing question.
Oh yeah.
And like it was around chocolates. And I was like, these chocolates, blah blah blah. And I remember I called a friend of mine, and she was like, you must remember that just because you had a bad paper, it doesn't mean that you failed. She's like, dude, get over it. There's probably 40 marks. Honestly, fine. You've written for 200 marks in that day. You'll be fine. You'll generate marks somewhere else. So don't focus on what you think went wrong. Focus on all the other things. You're like, okay, this didn't go right, but this went right. Or I knew how to formulate certain procedures, and I knew how to answer this VAT question. And I definitely knew my financial instruments. So hype yourself up. Focus on One honestly
I
went
see.
right.
So
Yeah.
so you were focusing on the chocolates. Cantiveli, your marks were not even on the
They
chocolate.
were not.
Yeah.
And I
yeah.
thought, so chances are I still I still got marks on the chocolate. She
Yeah.
literally said to me, remember, just because you had a bad paper, it does not
Yes.
mean that
It doesn't set the
failed.
tone.
No,
for
it does not set the tone.
Yes.
Get over it, honestly. And that's the one thing, get over things quickly. As soon as you can, just be like, you know what? I did what I could. It's fine. It's honestly fine. And that's literally what you should tell yourself after writing on day one. You should be like, okay, listen, I did what I could. I wrote within the required time. I answered all my questions. That is enough. Answering all your questions within the required time is enough to generate a pass. In all honesty, it really is.
That's
That's all you need.
sure up.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much. I think we have some questions. Let me check what the team is saying. Thank you so guys for posting your questions through. So we've got Abdul. Thanks, Abdul, for your question. So Abdul saying, hi, I'm not a candidate. However, I am studying to be a CA2. I am too ambitious and I want to become Miss CA. Miss Essay. Miss Essay. I'm thinking that's most of, why, because you look like Miss South Africa. I don't know, maybe, I'm not sure. Like, do you think I can manage to run for Miss Essay whilst busy preparing to write my ITC? Or would it be detrimental to my studies? Yasin, thank you so much. Your name is picking up as Abdul Muskan. I hope I'm saying that right. Like, yeah, can Miss Essay tell us? Because I feel like she's won a competition or two. Like, yeah, can you tell us what's your word of advice there? Like, can you branch out? So, I mean, have this CA route the way you know it, and then have this other thing that you're really passionate about.
Can I just get for a minute? Okay, so I guess I'll go into my little secret box and take out a secret.
Sure.
So I tried out for Miss SA when I was doing CTA.
Ooh.
So I repeated CTA, and in one of the years where I think, yeah, when I was repeating CTA, I tried out for Miss SA.
Wow.
And I wasn't successful, which is okay. But what it taught me is that you need to prioritize.
Okay.
You can have everything, but you can't have it at the same time. No.
That's quite good.
So you need to be able to have a conversation with yourself and ask yourself, okay, beginning of 2024, what are my goals for the year? What means more to you? Is it being Miss SA or is it passing your ITC? You must remember, Miss SA also has an age limit. So if you're still within the age limit and you can become a CA before you go try for Miss SA,
do that. Do your thing.
Good. Prioritize. You will have it all, but you can't have it all right now because studying for ITC, in as much as obviously it's like 2 months, it's still demanding. It honestly is still demanding. So you need to be able to tell yourself, okay, what matters more to me? Is it being with SA? And if it is, that's fine. Go try it out. And whether you win or you don't,
You know,
yes, you
this
know,
is your other passion.
but if
I gave it my all.
becoming a CA means more to you, then prioritize that right now. Then later on, you can then go on and try for this SA. Yes, so you can honestly, you can do both. I tried.
Just priorities
Yes,
matter
you
at
need
some
to
point. Yes.
prioritize because you won't have it all right now, but you can definitely have it all. You definitely can, but you just need to be able to plan out your life.
I know one guys, Miss SA, like CA, like no, she can't even hide. Like yeah, I know, shame. I'm gonna call her out some more. Thank you so much for your question. Now we've got Lovisa Julius. Okay. I honestly feel like I have not done enough practice questions. Okay. And this week I have only been doing one question a day because anxiety could not allow me to focus or do anything after. How did you manage and overcome anxiety the week before writing? How did you study that last week?
Cool. So maybe let's break up the question. Please let me just read it.
Sure.
She feels like she hasn't
done enough.
Practice questions. She's only been doing one a day.
One a day.
Okay, cool. So to be realistic, 100-mark question a day is probably all you're going to be able to do because it's demanding. Like I said, the marking is a lot. Not unless if you're a super genius and you mark and everything is like 80% and you move to the next one. I was not that.
You're not
type.
that person.
I wasn't. I was passing my questions, yes, but I knew that I could only do one question a day. So
Okay.
you are okay with doing one question a day. Just make sure that your question is integrated and make sure that you are marking fairly. Mark yourself fairly. Be strict. Where you've lost marks, you've lost marks. Keep it moving. So one question a day is honestly, it's enough for you to learn from the question and for you to be able to see what you're doing wrong in terms of your exam technique. So your time and how you're answering your questions and the structure and the planning. So it's enough. She's doing enough. She needs to believe that she's doing enough. And honestly, she really is. And then the other one is, how did I overcome the anxiety
just that week before writing?
I think I did mention that. I told myself that I am going to be anxious.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. ITC means so much to me. There's no way I'm not going to be anxious. But in a weird way to motivate myself, I was like, you know what, Tabile? You're doing this thing once. You're not going to come back here. I'm not coming back to Indonamo to study and have classes on a Saturday. I was just like, no.
Let's do this and go.
Yes. So it was kind of motivating as well to be like, listen, you will be anxious. You will be nervous. It's okay. But what I also did is that when I felt as though the anxiety or the nerves were becoming a bit too much, I'll go to the gym.
Okay.
But I wouldn't do anything hectic. Now I'm like doing push-ups and crunches.
Yeah. Not that person.
Please don't do that. Don't do something new. It's a week before you're writing. Don't now go and be like, I'm going to do 100 squats a day, squat challenge.
Yeah.
Relax.
That's the
Just relax. We're just trying to get you to calm down. So I would walk for like 30 minutes on the treadmill, or I'd run, or I'd do a step class, or I'd walk, I'd walk around my neighborhood, or I'd walk my dogs, whatever. Just do something to get away from your books. So when you're taking a break, move away from your books. Don't have your standards with you.
Okay, so I'm taking a break, but I still see the standards here. That doesn't work.
Not a break.
Okay,
Not a
I'm
break.
still,
So, yes, I'd really encourage her to take breaks. And in the breaks, like you said, pour back into yourself.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
You really can't. You really can't. And you can't expect yourself to not be nervous. You can't expect yourself to not be anxious. Just manage the emotions. And how do you manage them? You accept them.
Love it.
You accept it.
Okay.
And you work through it. And you journal if you want to journal. Why am I anxious? Why am
Understand your emotions, work through them.
I think we tend to run away from emotions so much, whereas we could be learning from them. Could be learning more about yourself through your emotions.
Sure.
And you need to remember that they're not going to be permanent. After writing ITC, you're not going to be feeling nervous. You're not going to be feeling anxious. So in this time where you're feeling nervous and anxious, work through it. It's only normal. I feel so anxious. I would swear.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to sleep.
Yeah.
But I'll just force myself like, you have to sleep, or else tomorrow is going to be a mess.
Yeah.
So just work through them. Embrace them.
I love it.
In a positive way.
Yes.
And if it means you need to have a meltdown, I won't lie, I had a bit of a meltdown.
Go through it.
Like I said, I had a study buddy that would call, be like, yo,
check yourself.
What was that? Was that question necessary? Did I have to go through that? And you are going to have to go through the toughness of studying for ITC. You're going to have to go through. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be challenging. And just be okay with that. Like, be okay with it.
Oh, thank you so much. Beautiful answer.
Another question.
We've got a lot. You're pouring in.
Cool.
We've got Ulindiwe Ntombi Nokonongo. I hope I say that right. So she wants to know, we went through the entire journey. We have not touched on the results day. What is happening? Mabeti, we regret. Or we like, what was that like? Let's talk about maybe the day before. We know when, Psycho announces, okay, this is when we'll release our results and stuff. So what were you like the day before? We're like, I did what I did. I'm okay. Or nerves. What was happening?
Okay, so I was anxious about results day well before the day before. Let me just tell you that. I was anxious about results like probably a month before they came out.
A month before.
I was quite anxious already. So results day, I was working from home that day. And I remember I didn't tell anyone at home that I'm getting my results.
Hey, Bo.
No.
Why? Just in case it's we regret, and then you're like,
No.
like this would help my result. Why?
No. I didn't want anybody else to add to my anxiety. I
Mm.
didn't want anybody else to add.
Okay.
I was protecting myself,
Sure.
protecting my peace as they
I love
as
that.
they put it.
Yes.
I was really protecting myself. So results day, I worked that morning, and I remember sending a message to my manager saying, I can't. I need to take.
I'm working from
I
home.
need to take a half day.
This is what's
I'm
happening.
not okay. I'm really not okay. And I remember closing my laptop, and I was like, okay, no, wait, to really just watch Netflix. We can relax, like watch something on Netflix. I was so nervous.
No.
My mom came to come ask, what's wrong? And I'm like, I'm not feeling well. So you will be nervous. I was definitely.
So even mom didn't know.
No, mom did not know. She didn't know. People from the office knew. So they kept checking in. Oh my gosh, how's it going?
Are you okay? Are you crying
I
yet?
blocked them out. I was like, guys, leave me alone. So yeah,
When the message finally came.
When the message came, I had shared my psycho logins with my one friend, the one that told me that just because you had a bad paper doesn't mean that you failed.
Oh, that's a good friend.
So I was confidentiality was breached, but I trust her enough to handle the news. So I shared with her, but she couldn't log in because I was also trying to log in. So we're on a call, and I'm like, yo, Sandy, dude, like, I'm nervous. She's like, no, you'll be fine. And then we couldn't see on the laptop. It kept jamming for some reason.
Like, yes. And
then as we're on the call, the message pops in.
That SMS.
I cried. I threw my phone.
Just hearing this, I want to cry now. I can imagine.
Across the room. I ran out. Mom,
Now she has to
She's
know.
like, you passed once. What are you waiting for? I'm like, I passed ITC. I'm crying. She's super happy. I'm video calling. I'm crying.
You know the way I just cry so easily. I swear.
Everyone's like, why are you crying? Once you passed. But I was so nervous.
Yes.
I think I had contained all the emotions because I kept reassuring myself, you'll be fine.
And now you actually
I am fine. I was so happy. So
beautiful.
Like you were nervous when you're writing ITC, when you get your results, you'll be nervous. And honestly, another study buddy of mine didn't make it, but she could celebrate with me in that moment. And I remember her saying, like, it's honestly okay. So you need to be prepared for anything. Because even the day I woke up, I didn't think I passed. I was like, anything will happen here. Anything can happen. Even though after writing, I was like, yeah, I'm sure I'm going to be number 11.
No, like, when I say, like, I'm not even joking. I'm so emotional. Like, I don't know if it's being a Capricorn. That's such a beautiful thing, man.
Really, just, I don't know what to expect. You don't know what to expect. So
emotions are overwhelming,
expect to be overwhelmed with emotions. And if you need to leave the house, leave the house.
Yes.
If you can hide. Do whatever works for you.
Do what works for you.
Yeah.
We've got 2 more comments. So Ubukhatsu is saying, thank you for sharing your journey with us, Tobile. Really inspiring and helpful.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much, Ubukhatsu, for that. Eats Girl. Okay, so Eats Girl.
As in like Eats Girl.
Eats Girl,
like
yeah.
IT.
Or maybe
IT
IT. Yeah, IT, you know. Yeah. So Eat Girl, it's not going to be easy on the day. There will always be that one mess up a question.
Yeah.
It is a psychobot course for a reason. You can do it. Be strong, guys. Thank you so much, Eat/IT Girl. We really appreciate that. If there are no more questions, I will just ask Utobile to give us her last word. So, Tobile, in your last word, I want you to also think, I mean, we don't only have ITC happening next week. I mean, we've got also our CTA guys, they're writing the supplementary exams. Can you, like what's the one thing that you'd want them to remember from this conversation as we close off?
So actually, I also wrote when I passed the ITC, I wrote subs. I had to write a sub.
Okay.
It wasn't a real sub because if you were with UNISA, you knew what the invigilator app did to us. So I was a victim.
You were one of those.
Yep, of the invigilator app, and I was requested to write again in January. So I had to rewrite, which is fine. So I know the nerves of having to rewrite, and I obviously didn't know the nerves of writing ITC as well. Guys, in all honesty, I've sat here and I'd like to think that I've motivated you guys, but that's only the beginning. It's only just going to give you a bit of a push. The only thing that's going to get you over the line is consistency and discipline.
Okay.
You need to wake up every day and show up. And don't overthink, oh my gosh, the next week. No, if all you have to do is take it one day at a time,
Do that.
Do just that. You need to wake up every day and show up, because the only thing that's going to get you to the other line where you've passed your subs and you've passed your ITC is consistency and discipline. You have to show up for, this is your life. You have to show up every day for what it is that you want. So if you want to be a CA, you're going to wake up every day, you're going to study, you're going to do what's best for you to get the best results. So consistency, discipline, show up every day. Show up every day. And you'll be fine. You'll be more than fine.
One last question.
Yeah.
From me.
Okay.
For the candidates who feel like perhaps they haven't done enough, please tell those candidates what the next 6 days looks like. Just maybe let's have like an actual structure. Are you saying tomorrow's a Friday? Are you saying Friday, read up, Saturday, Sunday, do your questions, and then Sunday, and then Monday, do that 2-day away from the papers thing? Like what are you saying to those candidates who feel like, I don't think I've done enough, but I mean, it's like, it's in a few days.
Okay,
what am I supposed to do?
So self-introspection time. If you honestly feel as though you have not done enough, you need to ask yourself, why do I feel like I haven't done enough? What is it? Is it because I haven't done enough questions? Is it because I haven't done enough technical work? But you also need to remember that you come from CTA. So from a technical perspective, you probably know IFRS 9, you know IS32, you know your financial instruments, because there will always be topics that make us nervous, it gives you a bit of a kick, a bit of a push. So it's normal to feel like you haven't done enough, but you need to identify, why do you feel like you haven't done enough? So if you know the issue is questions, now you're doing questions. If you know the issue is, I'm not comfortable with revenue, you're going to go back, you're going to read your revenue notes if you have notes, class examples, and when you're going to do a question on revenue, don't do it. If you're doing your CTA subs, also do an ITC level question, because you need to be able to answer for that topic at a high level, and that level is ITC. So you need to honestly self-introspect, find the why do I feel like I haven't done enough, and tackle it. And sometimes, because I was a candidate, felt like I haven't done enough, but I was honestly just being hard on myself. You need to give yourself grace. You've been pushing, you've been going at it. You will never feel like you've done enough. You never really will. I didn't get to Gallagher on the day and I was like, yeah, get out, man.
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Come at me. Come at me back. Water. Get out, man. I can tackle everything. No, but I knew that what I had done will push me, but I did not think it was enough. No, because I think we tend to be perfectionists. And that's where it actually kills us. So don't you will never feel like you've done enough. And if you really know that you haven't done enough, ask yourself why. Don't just say, Tobile said I've done enough, I'm being hard on myself. No. Ask yourself why. And if in your conclusion you can see that actually I'm being hard on myself, then no. But if your conclusion says, nah, it's a question,
I really have not done enough.
Go for revenue. Go do it. Then find an ITC past paper that has a revenue question and do it.
Beautiful. Guys watching at home, thank you so much. This has been absolutely wholesome. I'd like to thank Utobile for being with us. I mean, this is just what we need. I feel like you guys watching at home go through the lectures, you go through the tutorials, the mock exams, but you also need to think about the wellness aspect of it. I mean, where am I emotionally? So Tobile has just highlighted that you are important too. You cannot pour from an empty cup. as much as you're pushing, remember to take care of yourself, have that rest, do what you feel you need to, so that come Wednesday, when you see our faces and we are handing out those goodies, you're ready. You're excited to see us, not, oh, and Namo stressing me. What are they doing here? So, so as per norm, to those that have seen us there for other assessments, we will be there supporting you guys. This is just standard for both Wednesday and Thursday. We want to celebrate with you throughout your journey, and we also want to celebrate with you right at the very end. We'll hold your hand till the very last minute. Yeah, no, Tobile is just, yeah, no, she's one of a kind. I think you guys can see. Yeah, no, she can act like, no, I'm chilled, I'm chilled. She's really not. I mean, I think you guys can see her doing the most in life, and I want you guys to have that celebratory spirit as well when the results come out. We want to have you here in the seats, empowering our next cohort, our June 2024 candidates. So, guys, do whatever it takes. It is not too late. You still have a couple of days. You've heard the strategies, the exam techniques. Implement every single thing that you have heard, and trust you will go far. So all the best. Don't hesitate to reach out to the caretaking team or anyone if you need any assistance. Like she said, we're always right here. Thank you so much for coming, Tobile. It's been an absolute pleasure. Goodbye, everyone at home. Yeah, have a good one. Thank you so much. That was absolutely beautiful.